Hi, I'm Dean Wilson. This is The Good Life. Today's program is fantastic. John Davies is with us. John is a pillar in the community. He's involved in churches, local colleges, high school boards. He's got a great story. He has an involvement with an incredible organization in South Africa he talks about. He's a great guy. You won't want to miss it. The Good Life is next. This is The Good Life. I'm Dean Wilson. My guest today is John Davies. John, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to be out.
It is. It's good to be out, period.
Period. It's good to be somewhere.
Yes.
John's the CEO of Davies Public Affairs and Blaze Public Relations. John's provided strategic counsel for Fortune 50 companies. He is on several boards, including Oaks Christian and Acres of Love in Johannesburg, South Africa. An elder at his church. When I was thinking about John this morning, I kind of the term that came to me is pillar of the community. I think John's a pillar of our community, and every community needs pillars, and especially in times like this. And so it's great to have you, and I'm just glad to be able to chat with you.
Oh, it's so great to be on. What an honor with the folks you've had on the show. It's an honor to be here and follow them. I mean, some of my favorite people, not just in Santa Barbara, just in my life.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. And there's a lot we want to get to, but start with kind of your background, where you grow up, your family of origin, kind of where you came from.
Well, my parents were my family of origin.
Okay, good.
You probably figured that out. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I was born in upstate New York.
Oh, really?
And grew up there. Went to college in Western New York at State University in New York.
Okay.
And I came out here to visit my sister who had moved here to Montecito. Oh. And my visit for about a week or two, it turned out to be a lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, how do you go visit Montecito from Western New York?
Buffalo,
and then and I was one of the jobs that I was a finalist for was a coaching job at Syracuse University.
Really?
And it's like walking around here, I'm like, I'm not going to take that job. I'm not going to do
what
that.
What
sport? Track and cross country.
Really?
So they're looking for track, cross country, and sports information assistant director. So they're looking to go cheap on the little sports.
I see.
Yeah,
Combining
and I was cheap.
about three things.
And I was cheap. Yeah.
Wow. Was you a family of faith, or what was your family like?
Well, it was interesting. One side of my family, my dad's side, had pastors, Presbyterian side, and my mom's side were Catholic and a couple priests.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so a lot of that life got pulled around. Yeah.
Right.
So I started life as a Catholic.
Wow.
And attended Fellowship of Christian Athletes between my sophomore and junior year, and met the Lord at that event.
At Fellowship of Christian Athletes?
Yeah, Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Wow.
Yeah, at Holy Cross University.
Really?
Pretty amazing. Yeah.
Wow. And you get out here, and did you immediately start your own company, or did you go to work for somebody else?
No, it was it was a bad economy time. So I started working for a guy starting a sailing academy, and I worked out of his studio apartment.
Really?
My first job every morning was doing the dishes and making his bed because I couldn't stand to be there. So we got at lunch and did it, and I met the folks that had the law school here, and they hired me to help bring students from the East Coast. So I went to the school every morning at 5 a.m. and answered phones from the East Coast, and then I went to the East Coast and recruited a class.
Really?
Yeah, just traveled the whole East Coast, every college, but talked to students what it's like to go to a non-ABA law school, and brought back a class.
What was the law school?
It was called the California Law Institute, and it's now Santa Barbara College of Law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
It was pretty fun. First job. Didn't get paid a lot, but I learned a lot.
You did the dishes and
yeah.
Had you always had an interest in communications in general, PR?
Yes.
Was that kind of your passion early on?
I didn't realize it, but I had a major in political science.
Okay.
And I had a minor in journalism, which is a new department. And the head of the department just said, "Oh my gosh, this is you." I'm like, I don't know. Huh. So I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And,
wow.
I'm happy I didn't go that path.
Yeah. How long has Davies been around?
So I had started on my own, just doing a one-man band, joined with a group, and then sold out. They sold out to me. I let them go, and I started as John Davies Advertising, became Davies Communications, and then Davies Public Affairs. So that was in 1983.
Okay.
Just
Wow.
a few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago.
Yeah.
You've built a great company and done a lot of great work, and I've read some of, you've been in all kinds of lanes in terms of real estate, energy. You've done political stuff. I know you don't do much of that anymore by choice. But one of the things I was reading about, and you've won several major awards, national awards, which is impressive in terms of best public affairs. And one stuck out to me that you won was the best agency of the year to work for.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned to me at one point that your people stay. Your average tenure is 10 to 12 years, let's say. And you've won this award 3 out of the last 10 years of the best place to work. Talk about building a culture. How do you do that? How do you have the best place to work for? What are your thoughts?
I think it's really simple. Find people's unique ability and get them into it. So it's when you're in unique ability and you're doing what you're made for, you're happy. Time flies. Nothing lags. You're doing what you're made for, and it's sort of the same with spiritual gifts. I mean, if you're fulfilling your spiritual gift, life feels good. It's too fast. I mean, where some people labor all day and they can't wait to get done. So unique ability, doing that, and I used to think that it was just how we do. We're a meritocracy, that I pay you your share of what you earn, and I thought that was all of it. But it's really that I think they get in their right spot, and I work with them to grow. And so
finding the right people and getting them in their unique spot. Where
and
they
the other
can
is
thrive.
getting people excellent elsewhere when they don't fit the team. So we say 3 things: got to be smart.
Yep.
You just got to be smart. Second, you got to have a great work ethic, and part of a work ethic is know how to take time off. You work hard, but also know how to rest, because you can't work hard forever.
Right.
And third, you got to be able to play well with others. And we've had people have the first 2 and not the third.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
Right. That's wonderful. For a young entrepreneur right now, and somebody who's coming out of college into this environment, which is crazy in several different ways, what would be your counsel for somebody who has a dream, has an idea, has something they want to do, but is just not sure about taking the plunge?
Find mentors, one.
Yeah.
Find mentors to walk you through it. Understand that it's never going to be easy. There's no guarantee. So taking the plunge with a bunch of investors doesn't mean you're going to make it.
Right.
Taking the plunge. I took the plunge with a bank account with enough money to pay my rent the next month. And that wasn't the office rent, my house rent. And so you're going to have to risk.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to not make a lot of money. You're going to have to go along at the bottom of the food pile for a long time. But what happens once you start making it, the reward comes later.
Right. Yeah, risk taking is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
People, I think all of us, we want safety.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the further I've got along, I've kind of come to the conclusion that on planet Earth,
no such thing.
It really doesn't exist, does it?
No, it doesn't. Isn't that funny? I just think that how people have this worldview of that, they want to be loved by everyone.
Right.
They want to be significant, and they want it easy and safe. Well, none of that exists. I mean, the world doesn't love you; they love themselves. So you're not going to ever be satisfied there. And and if you want to be significant in other people's eyes, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, be significant in your relationship with Christ, and that's the most important.
Yeah. I read this morning, somebody was talking about social media. They said, don't try to impress, try to impact.
Yeah.
In terms of social media.
Yeah. Well, you watch me. I mean, my deal is not to argue.
Right.
But to put out basic facts that people are just,
they
just run away from.
Right.
And so many issues. It just, and I'm not there consistently, but that's my deal. It's like, I have a night, you have a day,
Right.
What can I do? How can I do factual, and do I know what's happening?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm watching the presidential debates and watching your commentary. I kind of have it on my phone, watching it and it's hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, it's
fun. A lot of
truth,
truths, but very funny.
Well, I try to have fun with those.
Yeah, I think you should keep doing that.
Well, as a Republican, with the Hillary and Sanders debates, this is before you knew me.
Yeah.
I kept tweeting and posting is I'm sort of attracted to Sanders, and my friend's like, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, but listen to what he says. He understands the problem with this nation. His solution is to make it worse, but he understands what the issues are.
Right.
And
he really believes it.
And he
does. Anybody really believes
it.
Staying on that topic, so let's we don't get really political, but I think this is an important topic. I've been thinking about the way we're talking to each other. Now. This morning I was watching an interview with former Defense Secretary Robert Gates, and he was saying, we've always been polarized. So since Washington and Jefferson and Adams, we've been polarized. He says, my concern right now is that we're paralyzed.
Interesting.
We've been it's one thing to be polarized, we're fighting, but it's another thing to be paralyzed. And I think right now, I've been challenging myself with how do I maintain an honorable posture to leaders, agree or disagree. And one of my mentors has said, it's one thing in your heart to pray for a leader, to honor a leader, which we're supposed to do. Right. We're encouraged to do. I think it's good for the soul to honor other people.
It's really art.
It's an art. It's hard.
Yeah, really hard.
And whether you agree or not, like him or not.
Right.
And it's not. And my mentor says it's not the kind of thing where you say, Lord, show this person that I'm right.
Right.
That's not what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Just praying for them.
Right.
And that's it. Now we can
No, it's great. I mean, there's a group called Media Matters that they pray for 365 people in the media. So they pray for someone every day.
Really?
Yeah. And it's pretty, and these people get on the list and they go, someone's praying for me. How cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
very
interesting.
cool.
Well, I just think that's something that I feel like is missing more and more.
Well, I think what's happened is, so we all know about confirmation bias now because it gets talked about more.
Right.
So you have logarithms that you look at something on the web, you post something on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and all of a sudden you're getting fed with everything that believes you. So what happened that agrees with you. So you're getting this confirmation bias, and you're like, oh my gosh, everyone agrees with me.
Right. I'm a hero.
So right, well, that not that what you're saying, but that everything you look up is the same because the internet is trying to feed you all the same stuff because that's how they get their money is getting the ad. So you say something, and all of a sudden you're getting the links to Town Hall if you're conservative. If you do it on the other side, you get Huffington Post links. Right. And so, I mean, what I try to do is read the other stuff, but I have to admit, I don't unfriend people. I snooze them for 30 days because I'm tempted to comment, but I like reading what other people say, and it softens me.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think the world's getting divided, as Gates said, by this. But I think it's polarized, and I don't think it's paralyzed. I think it borders on civil war, and I think there's people that are stoking both sides. And one of it is that everything you read is what you believe. You think the other people have no say.
Right.
And
you really, I'm getting the sense you really think that the other side or the leader, whether it's Nancy Pelosi or Donald Trump, is evil.
They're evil. They're not, and anything they say or anything they believe has got to be wrong. Or anyone who believes them is wrong.
Right.
I had a client, high level person at a big company, an energy company, and came here and said that if you tell me you're Republican, you voted for Donald Trump. And she said some of the most vulgar things I've ever heard, then I never want to do business with you again. I go, well, I mean, that's got to be your choice. But I mean, that's really painful to hear you say.
It is.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
And I think with young people, one of the things that I want to do in my life is to encourage young people, honor, pray for their leaders, even if they disagree. Mm-hmm. You can be passionate about your opinion, but listen and honor.
Yes.
Because having that honorable spirit, it goes well for you. Same with honoring your father and mother. It says you'll live long. But
time. You don't have heartburn. But so one of the other things Bob Gates said, he spoke here at Westmont at the president breakfast, and so at a little event before it, someone asked him, so what's any common trait among the great presidents? And he goes, easiest question you're going to give me all day, sense of humor.
Really?
Yeah, and he had served like 4 or 5 presidents.
Yeah.
And he said, think about the presidents at that time that did not have a sense of humor, and where they are.
Huh.
Richard Nixon, Jimmy Carter.
Right.
I mean,
Interesting.
and he would one from each side. And if there's one thing about Donald Trump, I mean, I don't feel a lot of sense of humor. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or Joe Biden. Neither one of them seem to have the ability to laugh at themselves.
Right. Well, right.
And
Yeah,
that's pretty sad.
We need more jokes, John. We need
Yeah.
more jokes. We need something. Let's lighten it up. I don't know how we're
Yeah.
going to do that. We got a lot to do. Tell us about Acres of Love. You've been involved in a lot of different things, Westmont College, Oaks Christian. But when I saw Acres of Love, how did you get involved in that, and what is it?
It's such a great story. Is that a gentleman in our church was helping them. He was moved by what they were doing, and he had them come to Calvary Chapel, Santa Barbara, and they spoke, and they went back to another room to tell a little more later. And I went in and I said, "Oh, I want to help." And so all of a sudden he's calling me. It's like, I go, "Well, you said you're going to send me something." All of a sudden he goes, "You need to have lunch with me." So he tells me the story. So Acres of Love was started by a South African family that moved to the U.S. And they were in their churches in Johannesburg constantly complaining why no one was doing anything about the AIDS orphans. And they had built a house, they rented it out because they bought a new house and built a new house. And the first house came up with, had to get new tenants. So they go, maybe we should do something. So they got their staff from their different companies, and they had them work in the house. And they put some AIDS babies in there, AIDS orphans babies, and they took care of them. And then they put some more in. Then they got organized and bought the house next door and did that. And they did that for a while. They moved to the U.S. and they kept going back to take care of the house. And people were like, "What are you doing?" And they told them, they go, "Well, can we do it with you? Can we help you?"
Yeah.
So literally that's how it started. And it's an amazing formula, easy to scale, and it's very personal. So it's like a single family, upper middle class home, Johannesburg and Cape Town, put 6 to 8 kids in a house, usually 1 or 2 special needs. I mean, if you want to see the least of these, it's a special needs child in Africa.
Yeah.
And they raise them like a family. So house parents, and some that helps cook and clean. House parents get to live in a beautiful house. They get 2 days off a week. And it's amazing. So we helped with the first house a little bit with their ongoing. They'd already raised money. And then we went to an event, and I leaned over at my wife, and she goes, "I know." She goes, "We're going to do a house, aren't we?" I said, "Yeah." And she goes, that's your 4th child, because you travel too much for me to have another child." And so we brought together a group. 4 months. I wrote 4 emails to the group that said they wanted to do it. We raised $200,000 to buy the house.
Wow.
And then we bought another one, and then we did another one. So we've done 3, and then then I get to be with these absolutely wonderful people. We go there; it's like a blessing.
Wow.
So I asked my kids,
there's
should we go Colorado skiing, or should we go to Johannesburg and visit our kids? I mean, these are beginning of college and 2 in high school at the time. The text came back within minutes. Acres, and so absolutely amazing blessing.
Wow. And do you see? So you've seen them grow up at some point?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, 15, 16 years.
It's been 15 years.
Yeah.
So
there's one sweet boy, we just lost him, who was locked in a coffin-sized box because he was a baby with AIDS, and his relatives were embarrassed of him, and he ate his own waste. He lived in this horrible box. He comes into our house, and so he's pretty broken, and he walks around the yard singing "Jesus Loves You." I mean, that's his song. And he grew to be this 22, this big, tall, handsome boy who he had to cut his meat. And so when I go, I've gone on my own for some events with the board, but also for some business. I take them all out to dinner a couple times, and my gosh, I mean, they come running, and they're teenagers. So we have them out. We have them going to vocational school, colleges. Yeah.
Wow.
So
how long do they live in that house?
We call them forever homes.
So
and the idea is, think about an orphanage, right?
Right.
I mean, where do you go?
Right.
It's like, when you're in a hotel, you got to check out early,
right,
and you don't leave until midnight on a flight.
Right.
You feel homeless, right?
Right.
Where am I going to go back? Where do I rest?
Right.
I mean, I got to stand in the lobbies and airport.
Right.
And So they're home forever. And so with the special needs kids, we created a home for them. So they graduate at 18, 19. They go to a different place where they get more in a smaller home, tied into a bigger place, so they can be taken care of.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
This couple, I mean, they're...
where can people see it online? Do you have the
Acres
website?
of Love.
Acresoflove.org?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And there's a group at Brigham Young that did a video on it.
Oh, really?
Which is amazing. They captured it so well.
Wow.
But you should be able to find it. But
the
story is amazing. So we have about 35, 40 homes. I think we just added a few.
Unbelievable.
And God just answers our prayers. I mean, literally, Dean, we'll get an email. This child needs X amount of surgery, $25,000. And we have emergency funds. Just pray. People come in, knock on the door at the office in Orange County.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I've just been moved. They'll give you some money.
Yeah.
Hands a check for $25,000, leaves the room.
Yeah. God's really able.
Yeah.
Our pastor preached a sermon a few weeks ago. He says, God doesn't bless good ideas; He blesses His ideas.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, don't ask God to kiss your baby. Get involved in what He's, and something like that. If He's in it and blessing it,
oh my gosh, hold on for the ride.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, literally,
hang on to your hat.
Yeah, I mean, it's blessed our family. I
bet.
After we went the first time, dedicated the first home we did, I'm like, to go back again. I'm like, why don't we just give you the money? It's expensive.
Instead of going.
And they're like, no, this is.
We gotta
this does more for you, your family.
Yeah.
This is great. And it does. I mean, my daughter is in law school, and her goal into going to law school has been to change international adoption laws.
Oh.
Because when she was 6, she wanted to adopt one of the girls, and we couldn't adopt her.
Oh, really?
We couldn't do, because
legally?
In South Africa, you can't be adopted out if you don't have a birth certificate.
You could just whip one up.
There you go. There you go.
I could have handled that for you, but that's being recorded. But,
yeah, I know, but right, but you can't find it, and they don't want them adopted, because it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm for your daughter doing that.
But is that? I mean, from a trip at 6 years old.
Oh, that's, I've said it almost on every program, but our brain injured daughter has changed our life in every way.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change a thing. It's been very hard. She's 18. It's easier for me to say because my wife cares for her most of the time. But it's changed our family, our other kids. It's changed the whole world.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I wonder who's special needs.
Right. Well, so the Akers family, the couple, moved to the U.S. because they had a special needs son, who the only treatments were here.
Oh, really?
And I mean, when we go touring in South Africa, sometimes I'll sit in the back. My son will sit in the front with the husband, and all the girls will be in another car, and I sit with Gareth, and oh my gosh, he's just the funniest human there is, because his dad will say something, and a couple minutes later he'll go,
he's telling the truth.
Yeah, he does. It's like so sweet. Yeah, so that's why they're so focused on taking the care of the least of these. I mean, these kids.
That's so good.
I mean, they are treated like royalty.
Treasures in heaven.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
I always say when I get there, I'm going to point to my wife and say, I'm with her.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I'm going to say I know these people from Acres of Love, because they're not going to be able to wear their crown.
Oh man,
it's going to be so heavy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Tell us real quick about your wife, Nina. I've only met her 2 or 3 times, but
well, she loved the event. Oh my gosh.
Oh, good.
She was blown away, and
good.
And she picked our table. And she brought some people who were really moved by, so it was really great.
Oh, good.
So I was a bachelor till 40.
Were you really?
Yeah, and that was doing political campaigns. I mean, there's no, you go on one date and you call 6 months later and say, hey, that was fun. Do you remember me? I met her, fixed up by some of her girlfriends, and I literally knew the minute.
Really?
Yeah, I was turning 39. And I was going to visit my family for Christmas, some family members and my mom. And they're like, so, Christmas dinner, so what's going on? I go, oh, I've met the woman I'm going to marry. At 39, they're all like, well, how long have you been dating her? I go, we haven't had a date yet. I have a date when I get back. Yeah, she wasn't as in that position, by the way. It took a while.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, what happened?
But
is,
you're a communication specialist.
oh
John.
my gosh!
I mean, if anybody,
I had to use my best.
close the deal.
I had to go get mentors. So at first date, we go to this restaurant that I never go to because these women say, don't go places you go all the time. So they'll say, "Oh, welcome back." So it looks like this
Right.
is where you take your dates.
Right.
So I go to this place, and the guy meets us at the door, who had done some construction in our office. "Oh, John, we have your special table for you." I'm like, "I don't have a special table." Anyway, but yeah, it was a game changer. So I mean, I'd walked away from the Lord, and
Really?
oh yeah, I was just wandering, and she hadn't really connected. She was like, Catholic, sort of good friends, and almost immediately. When we met, we sought out the Lord.
Is that right?
And I'm like, when something's right, it's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I just knew.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew right away. And she,
Wow.
so is that amazing?
That's a
Yeah.
fantastic
Yeah,
story.
that was great.
Well,
was a
I
great
really
moment.
like Nina, and
Oh, she's great. I mean,
Yeah.
put up with me.
you married up, so did I.
Yeah. Oh my
It's a
gosh,
good-
put up
it's a
with
good
me
place.
and my travel
Right.
and our kids are just, sweet. Who knows what they're going to be most successful, but that they're sweetest, loving, kind humans, and
That's
that's
who they're
more
gonna be.
important to me. That's who they're going to be. Yeah.
We don't have a ton of time left, but the current issues in our country. I mean, it's been a rough year, but specifically related to the racial tensions, police. You're a mature man, and I just wanted your thoughts on what can peacemakers do right now.
Yeah. I mean, think about Jesus at the well when the adulteress was brought to him. What did he do? He rode in the
Took
dust.
the attention away.
He rode in the dust.
Yeah.
What was he doing? I mean, either is averting his eyes from the woman because she wasn't dressed, or he was making them look, instead of looking down on her, look way down on him, or he was listening. And I think the greatest thing we can do is listen. And that's, listen to someone and really listen to them. And so with my clients, doing big projects that are people really upset with, and they don't want to go meet with people because it's hard.
Yeah.
But if we get them to go and they listen, they change their projects. They're like, oh, that's easy. And so, I mean, recently with what's happened, so anyone who says all life matters just really makes Black Lives Matter very angry.
Right.
And that has allowed them to have more people. So what people that are in the movement, not trying to do riots, or the people that are using it for an excuse, they just want to be known. They just want you to know that this has been not a great time.
Yeah.
We don't have a segregated society, but we don't really relate to one another, and there is racism. And just, can you listen to me?
Right.
And can you let me know that you understand? And I told you, I read through some things at Oak School, Christian school, and that some of the students said, I was weeping reading these stories. I mean, that these kids got a great education, they loved the school, but they were hurt, and those hurts stay with them.
Yeah.
And so we're dealing with it. We listen to them, and
There's
I was
real
blown.
pain.
Well, yeah, real pain and real maturity.
Yeah.
That when they come in and they've been gone, some 10, some 13, some are still there, and they tell their story. First off, I was like, wow, I want to hire these kids. They're articulate, they're smart, and they're passionate, and they're not angry.
Yeah.
And so, it's listen. And
Listening.
then, but again, you got to separate. You got to separate those who are using this for their own good versus the people that really matter.
Right.
And
That's good.
That's really hard
That's
right
good.
now.
Yeah, but I think this feels different. I don't know why, but we've been through lots of these police brutality episodes, but for some reason I think something feels different this time, which is, I think
it's really good.
Yeah.
And I think the people that are protesting, my favorite moment in this, Santa Monica, huge protest, and I have an office right by. They're surrounding my office.
Oh, really?
And all of a sudden, they're at the beach on the ocean, on the little patch of grass there, and there's piles of protesters taking a knee and sitting down. And the one guy comes out and starts talking to the TV folks. And he says, I want to make it really clear. We're here to protest. We're here for what happened. We're not here to burn or loot. Those people in the street up there doing that, they're not with us.
Oh.
And we're embarrassed by that. We just want to make the case that Black Lives Matter, and we want a relationship with you.
Yeah.
And we're not looting and we're not fighting.
Yeah.
That changed the game,
right,
for me. But I think it changed the game. Period. When the real protesters separated themselves.
Yeah.
And made that distinction.
Right. That is powerful.
Yeah, it was really powerful.
We need more of those moments. Well, John, we're out of time. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
This is fantastic. We'll have you back. The event John referred to, by the way, is a legacy of service event that we did last year at the Rosewood in December. We're going to do it again this December. So if you're watching and you're interested, we're on December 15th. We're going to be there. John will be there.
Yeah, I'll be there for sure. That was an amazingly inspiring evening.
Well, thank you. Donna Reeves gets all the credit.
Of course she does.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
This is Good Life. We'll see you next time.